Hi folks, in this video I'm going to show you how to convert a list activity to just a regular activity. Quite often you might want to have a list in your activity, but you might want to have all kinds of other things. Like in our current assignment, we have an activity that contains a progress bar. Sometimes and at other times it contains a list. So if we use a list activity, that means the activity is going to be showing a list at all times. So I'm going to take this small example, which as you can see is a list activity, and I'm going to change a few things so it's an activity that shows a list, and it's pretty straightforward. So first, I'll just explain this app. It's extremely trivial. It's a little list activity. It starts out with a list of integers. On create, I populate the list. I then created an adapter to associate the list to the individual rows of the list. Each row is made up of just a text view. So I have my data, that's the array. I have my adapter that connects the data, the array, to the layout of each individual row. Finally, I just have to set the adapter of the activity to the adapter I created. Now, notice it says nothing about the name of the list, the location of the list, or anything like that. Because it's a list activity, Android will figure all that out for you, so it makes it very easy. But as a trade-off, you must show a list at all times. So let's say we want this to become just an activity. So let's go ahead and change this to activity. Right away you'll see a lot of things are underlined in red, meaning we have errors. The first thing I'll do is I'll import activity. That's going to help us quite a bit. The one thing left though is this function here, set list adapter, and I'm calling it on the instance of the activity. If this was a list activity, then you could set the list adapter. But since this is no longer a list activity and it's just an activity, there's no adapter associated to the class. The adapter would have to be associated to the list, which may be in the class. So let's go and take a look at the layout of the list. You'll see that we're using the basic list, which contains a list or a text field for empty. The key here is to notice the name of the list starts with Android. That means it's a predefined list that Android already knows about. Instead of that, I'm just going to put a plus sign to tell Android that this is a new list that we're creating. If Android creates the list, then it controls it, but we want this list to be our own, so let's just change it to ID. Now, let's go back to the main activity. I need to associate the adapter to the list that we want to show. So first, I'm going to get that list out of the layout. So I'll do list view, and I'll import that. Whoops, I think it's already imported, sorry. Then I'll do the list view equals list view find view by ID r.id. We named it list. Okay, so now we have our list, and I do, yes, have to import this. So let's go ahead and import it now. I have to associate the adapter to the list view, not to the activity. Again, I can't associate the adapter to the activity because the activity is no longer a list activity. Okay, so I have the list view dot set adapter, and the adapter's name is adapter, and boom, there we go. And I can now remove this, which is no longer needed. So let me save that. And as you can see up here, I can remove this import because it's no longer a list activity. So the main difference here is I'm going in and grabbing the list, and then I'm associating the adapter to my particular list rather than to the default list associated to the list activity. So that summarizes how to convert a list activity into an activity that happens to contain a list. I hope that helps, and I'll see you soon.